Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing Shelly. We're going to be talking about um, short form content, why it's great for your content. Um, Hope everyone's doing well. We had some tech problems, but we're still live. But first of all, I'm going to say hi to Shelly. Hey, Shelly.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Tech sometimes happens, but we should still talk about short form content because short form content is amazing. So, why did you start doing short form content?
Oh, that's the new one. Usually it's always, why did you start video? I like it. Short form video, when you think about it, it's so interesting because sometimes I was making short form video even on YouTube, even before short form vertical content was a thing. So sometimes there were tutorials that could be 30, 40, 50 seconds, could be a minute long. And I would just put those videos out. And sometimes I would actually get comments from people like, oh, it's so great that like it can be such a short to the point video. And then all of a sudden Instagram stories blew up and everyone was
Hmm.
really starting to get into the whole vertical thing.
Yeah,
But I've always been a fan of like the whole a video only needs to be as long as it needs to be. And then the ref is sometimes kind of fluff. So I've
yeah.
always been as much as I can short, shorter video better.
So, when did you actually start like vertical video?
When did I start? I think this is way back when we were looking at like Snapchat days, when we were all starting to
Yeah,
adopt like Snapchat and like Instagram stories. So I'd say it's been ever since those have been out there. So a very long time, it seems like.
that's amazing. And if someone's just starting out, what would you recommend for them to start? Would you recommend, should you start with like their phone? Should you get a camera? What should you recommend as gear if they want to just get started?
I would always recommend shooting with your phone because most of the time it's going to shoot high quality video as long as you change the settings on it, hopefully. And it's most of the time it reduces the burden of having to carry extra gear because almost always you have your phone with you. So it's really easy to whip out that phone, right? And you take a picture of your kid at a soccer game or, some really cute puppy that you saw or your own cute puppy. And so it's kind of just ingrained to you to like take a photo real quick or take a short snippet of a video. And so if you have to think about packing extra gear, it is just one more burden. It seems like one more obstacle that keeps you from creating video, right? So I just like always start with your phone. What is one tip? I would say always be shooting, right? Because you just never know you're going to end up catching something really cute or funny or who knows. And it's just sometimes it's better to have the footage and not need it than to be like, what can I try and slice together to put like a story together? So honestly, I think sometimes it's always like, oh, I don't know why I'm catching this tree right now with all these leaves. I'm not doing a video about this right now. And I'm like, no, but it might make really good B-roll later next year when you're thinking about the fall or whatever it is. So I tend to, if there's something kind of picturesque, I always am like, yes, take the video, take the photo, do it.
Yes. So, what is a piece of gear that you would actually recommend if they want to upgrade if you're doing short form content?
Oh, okay. I'd say a better microphone is usually on the list because it's either a better microphone or better lighting. Because most of the time, if even if you are using your cell phone, you're still going to get like a very high quality video. So the next thing, I think people are always so quick to want to grab the newest camera or the newest cell phone. But really, again, like I said, a lot of the time their older equipment is just fine. But the next step up is really, can they hear you well if you're speaking, especially? And then can they see you well? Are you lit well? So if you can handle those things and you've maxed out all of it, then I would move upgrade equipment wise to a better camera.
Yes, and Austin asked, my front camera is 720,
720?
maybe 1080. Is that
Mm-hmm.
fine?
Oh yeah, of course they're fine. They're fine. I'm not saying that those are bad. But some things can happen. Like if you're sometimes using the selfie camera, sometimes there isn't a lot of zoom, or it's all digital zoom, which is pixel peeping enhancing and not optical zoom where the lens itself is moving. And usually when you're using the backside, then you have, especially for a lot of phones that have multiple lenses, then you have the ability to either use the macro lens or use, for the very close-up shots, or use that wide angle lens, or to really, it's the equivalent of having a camera, a mirrorless camera or a DSLR with varying focal point lengths of
Yeah.
your lens. So instead of, or you can do that by moving your feet or moving the camera or something like that. But usually, if you can, I would prefer to shoot with a backside one, have the different focal lengths options. And I think usually you're going to have stuff like lower f-stop, which is going to give you that bokeh effect or that blurry background. It's usually going to be lower on the back camera than it is the front. But again, now we're just splitting hairs. So if you like it because you like seeing the selfie style, that's fine. Keep in mind that most people, when they do the selfie style one, everything, like, we can tell because usually you're not making eye contact with where the lens is, which is up here. You're usually looking at yourself on screen, which is very telltale. So your eyesight is just like, your eye line is always just a tiny bit off. So if you are going to use your selfie one, just remember, like, point at where your lens is. It's like, it's up here, because like most people will be looking down here.
So Dr. Elo asks, what video editor would you recommend for short form content?
I recommend a lot of them. One of my personal favorites is InShot. I love InShot. Splice is a really good one. CapCut's a really good one. If it's for just making sometimes Instagram stories or something very short, there's something with some built-in transitions and such. I use one called, what is it called? Spark. I think it's Spark Camera. Let me just verify that. I just know the icon, so I got to go find it here. But Spark Camera. So it has these little built-in transitions or built-in sounds. One thing though to note, or the built-in sounds library are actually from Epidemic. So if you were to put this on YouTube, you would get a copyright claim, not strike claim, but from Epidemic Sounds, unless you're also an Epidemic customer. Sometimes I will use a service called Mixed Captions, but that's usually only because I have a wide video that I'm trying to sometimes resqueeze into a taller one and add captions to. Otherwise, just for the rechanging of orientation and adding fun stuff or just some general basic stuff, I do almost all of it in InShot.
Okay. So Austin says I don't look at the camera when
Go
he's
ahead.
doing videos. So
Oh no, your eyes are covered. Are you doing the Casey Neistat with sunglasses so no one can tell that you're not making eye
yeah,
contact? It's a trick. It's a good trick that he's got.
totally. Like, eye contact is hard, and one of the best ways now is you get like a teleprompter and all that stuff. So that would be fun to play around with because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people use that now nowadays.
Yeah, I definitely have been looking into getting a teleprompter too. There's one if you already have a script and you're just kind of reading a short video, there's an app you can use called Big View. But I also want to practice one. I think it's Parrot or Glide Gear has one that goes and attaches to your camera, and then you
Yeah.
usually reflect your iPad or something like that. So I need to investigate that.
So Dr. Elo says I love Vlog Easy, which I told him about. Now
Nice.
Vlog Easy is pretty cool because there's a feature that like automatically edits your shorts so that
Mm.
so you can have like the ums, the ahs. So it's pretty cool and it cuts that out digitally.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool. I have a program like that that I use right before I go into Final Cut Pro, and it is
Yeah.
Recut. And I love that program. So if you happen to do that and then you want to export into like Final Cut Pro XML or into Camtasia or something else like that, you should check out Recut.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So
it'll go through
yeah.
and analyze and look for dead spaces and then cut them out as a pre-cut, and then you import that file into like a Final Cut Pro or something.
Someone asked, how do you get more subs to my channel? Like, how do you, someone just asked, like, how do you actually get more subscribers? So,
Make more videos.
yeah, that's true. And that's coming from Shelly that works on one of the biggest browser extensions, TubeBuddy. So, That's saying something. So, Austin uses DaVinci Resolve too.
Great. Yeah.
That's a big software. Now, are you going to be using or like testing out DaVinci Resolve and do a like vertical video in DaVinci Resolve?
No, I think that if I were to move into other programs, one, I would teach more in Final Cut Pro. I would teach more in some of the mobile apps right now. So InShot or Mixed Captions or CapCut or Splice. I don't have any plans for DaVinci Resolve right now.
I totally get it. I know DaVinci Resolve is pretty more advanced, but I get that what you're saying. So, my next
It's just
question,
not one that I
yeah,
use. So like I use Premiere for a little bit, so I would make a Premiere video if I learned something in Premiere. But for me to like make a DaVinci Resolve, like one, I don't use the program. So for me, it would be downloading it only to learn how to do something so I can make a tutorial to teach someone else how to do something, which isn't a really good use of my time. It would be better for me to use the programs that I currently use and just teach people about those. Because there are plenty of people
totally.
out there right now that can teach about DaVinci Resolve. I don't need to be one of them.
I totally get that because there's so many amazing content creators that are already making those videos.
Yeah.
It it's just crazy that that you could make a video on editing and then it blows up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, at the heart of it, even a video about editing, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help people like share what they love with others, you know, through video. So I'm always encouraged when someone's like, oh, I learned how to do something, or I made a video, or I did something. And I'm just like, heck yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. So that always makes me happy.
Yeah. So, for shorts,
Mhm.
why are they important for like your content
Mm,
creation?
okay. Okay. That's a really good question. So I'm going to go with they may or may not be important. Because shorts don't have to be for everyone. And so I hate for some people to say, oh, I feel so stifled. I have to do shorts, but it's just one more thing that I have to do. And so to those people, I would say, then don't do it. Okay. One of the things that I love greatly about vertical video and about short form vertical video is that for me, I love efficiency. So if I can create one piece of content, I can use that same piece of content on Instagram Reels, on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok, on a Pinterest video pin, on side of Twitter, inside of, not only a reel, but a story. So there's so many places that I can put that same piece of content. And there's already so much evidence empirically that shows, like, first of all, 70% of, mobile traffic or something, I mean, all of it is on your phone, but people are always holding their phone almost 80% or more of the time in a vertical orientation. So if you're already going to stop their scroll and be on their screen and make it harder for them to see other things, that's great. Okay. And if you think about the fact that it's cheaper to convert people under advertising that is vertical than it is horizontal. So for the same $1,000, you end up getting more customers, more conversions, and better like open rates and like completion rates in vertical than you do horizontal. It actually makes more sense. Plus, it's able to be repurposed and distributed everywhere without having to be changed. So all of a sudden it becomes the odd man out is actually widescreen, not vertical, if you truly embrace it. Now, all of that being said, if that is not in your wheelhouse and you don't want to do it, then I would say don't do it. But you cannot deny how much of the world's sites and the sites that do video, right, encourage or have
Yeah.
vertical video. And if there's less people doing vertical video, that's one of the few times you can say it's less saturated and you, as an early adopter of that technology, would get more airtime, which is what we all want at the end of the day. So if you think about it, like it converts better, it's more repurposable, it is actually more effective, and it's like distributed everywhere. It would be remiss of people to ignore it completely as part of a marketing or video strategy, no matter what.
So, Why does a video like blow up on YouTube and it might not blow up on Instagram or TikTok?
Or vice versa. Why does it do well on one versus the other? I think it depends. There's so much that goes into who does that video get in front of, and then once it gains momentum and it does well with a certain group, then how do they continue to show it to people, right? So if you're a more established channel, sometimes it could be the fact that your videos are always in a certain type of genre, so people start to expect a certain thing. So someone like Lisa Wynn over on Lisa Wynn Foods or Telehue Foods is always going to be able to tune in for a short form vertical video about food. And so people expect that, or like upping my tolerance spice level or the ramen challenge. So they know exactly what to expect. And all of her videos can continually do well because that's what her audience wants. And because they respond so well to it, it shows it to more people all the time. So there's something like that. But then every once in a while, you have random videos on your channel. I am not a coffee channel. I have one video about coffee syrup pumps that all of a sudden has 220,000 views. So why does that one video get more views than anything else? It could be a trending hashtag. It could be the sound that is used with it. It could be, because it's National Coffee Day and it just happens to be picked up by the right brand. There are so many variables that is it correlation or causation? Is it like a sustainable thing or a one-off flash in the pan? There's nothing but questions
Totally.
that happen when something like that happens.
So my next question is, when did you like jump on the Instagram shorts and the YouTube shorts?
I didn't feel like I needed to jump on anything. I was already a lover of vertical video. So it was just one more place to distribute. I just think of all of these places sometimes as another channel on your television that, are back on the day, or another radio station, or a place that's willing to put out your content for free. Because if you think about it, we don't pay to put our content out on these, platforms unless you're boosting and paying for extra views and stuff. So it's like, if I have these videos, why wouldn't I put them every single place that they'll allow me to for free? So
Totally.
I'm kind of like, it doesn't really matter to me because, did I expect that the Tarani syrups would blow up to 220,000? No, it just is what it is. Like I do the video and then I move on to the next one, So if something great comes from it, awesome. If something doesn't, no big deal. Like we're on to the next one. But it's just like, eventually, why would you not? Like you literally have a checklist of all the places that will take your vertical video, just put them everywhere. Why not?
Yeah. So when someone is just getting started, what platform would you recommend to them?
Well, I would say if you have the vertical video, put it everywhere. However, there are some advantages to places like TikTok, which is lots of chances to go viral. There's something nice about the functionality of Instagram with all the ability to do messaging, chat, features, and set up your own shopping and stuff like that. So there's YouTube Shorts. So honestly, I'd be like all the places that you can be without exhausting yourself, as long as you have a systemized practice. No one says that as soon as you release a video, it has to be all 10 places on the same hour that it's released. So if it's going to cause you just frustration and consternation to do it, just dole it out to whatever schedule. If it's like, hey, if you're doing, one vertical video every other day and just like, hey, Mondays I put it up on Instagram and Tuesdays I put it up on YouTube and then Wednesdays I put it up on Pinterest, and you just keep cycling or whatever it is, you'll eventually get through all of the different sites. I just think that's a better strategy than being like, hey, I'm going to put all my eggs in the Vine basket or on Triller or in whatever source that goes away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm just like, just put it everywhere.
Has there been a short form content platform that has gone away?
Yeah. That's why I was joking about Triller and Vine and some of these others. They're flash in the
Yeah.
pan that come and go. But here's the thing: is even for the people who might put all of their eggs in the YouTube basket, but then they forget that they were using music that, or they just did the watermarked version of a song that then has copywritten songs in it. And then instead of a claim, some person decided they wanted to get a strike instead. And all of a sudden now you can't even upload to YouTube because you have 3 strikes. What if that was the only platform that you uploaded to because you decided to put all your eggs in one basket? And some people would be like, oh, you should only focus on one, then bring in others. And I say, I don't think it's a lot of extra effort to put it anywhere else. And if you really do think it is, then I don't even know what to tell you, like, because it's not. So I am always a proponent of at least having 3. I would never only pick one.
Austin says Vine was so much better than TikTok. Yeah. Some people think that, some people don't. What are your
Well, here's the
thoughts?
thing is it may or may not be, but the thing is it's not here anymore. So we could bemoan this all day because like then you're just complaining about the way things used to be or the way you want them to be instead of reacting to the way they are. Right. So it's like there are a lot of people who think that MySpace was the best, or there are a lot of people who think that, whatever was the best, but it doesn't exist anymore, or it doesn't exist in the same way, or it doesn't have the same popularity, and the population has moved on. And you can sit there and whine and moan about how like oh, everyone moved on without me. It's like, no, everyone moved on. You could have also too, and you chose not to because you wanted to sit and yell at clouds about how MySpace was so great. It's just like sites come and go all the time. You think about the .com boom that happened. Well, you're too young in like the 90s or whatnot, and so all of those people complaining about like the way that they want things to be instead of reacting to the way things are. So
Totally. Yeah. Doxa's Path was one too.
yeah, there's a million of them, right? Just like there's a lot of different live streaming platforms that happen and then they fold, or a lot of things that, that used to be that aren't here anymore. And it's not anybody's fault. Sometimes, companies are mismanaged or sometimes they just run out of money or whatever else it is. To us, it really doesn't matter because it was just one more avenue and place where we had a distribution path, right? And hopefully a way to connect with people. So if you were smart, what you did was you took your audience from Vine and you translated them into YouTube and you took them to TikTok, or you're trying to get your TikTok people over onto YouTube now because honestly, like TikTok people and followings aren't worth as much as they are on YouTube, or they're worth even less than if they're on an email list, or they're worth even less if they're not in your Patreon. So it doesn't really matter where you decide to move people to. But the fact is, if you put all your eggs in one basket, and then let's say you were only on Patreon, and then you get banned from Patreon, what are you going to do? Connect to your people. You know what I mean? So I would never put all of my eggs in any one social platform. Period.
Totally. So, I'm just curious, what was your biggest short form content that you ever done, like the biggest views?
It was a video about my dad dying, and I don't want to be known as
Wow.
the girl who got sad because my dad died. You know what I mean? So like, I didn't mean for that video to blow up on TikTok either, and that has like 6 million views on it. So like,
Oh my
and it's not
god.
anything. I'm not sticking my, like flag in the sand to be like, this is me, this is my reputation. We're just gonna go with this. Um, you know what I mean? So I'm always again gonna go into I made a video, great. Now make another one.
Totally. That seems sad a little bit.
It was sad.
That's amazing. Wow. Wow. Because you don't know like what video will blow up and what won't. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the truth is, well, I mean, if you look at any of those TikToks, a lot of them that do blow up, the next follow-up videos, wow, guys, like I never expected that like so many of you would watch that, or that was just for like my account of like 100 people. I never thought so many people would react to that. And so it's true, you don't really know. And sometimes things are cyclical and they'll come back. And you made that video 3 months ago and now it's blowing up. I've seen that with shorts happen, where all of a sudden it's like this huge spike happens, and it's like I don't know how that happened. Or even if it was my most popular iMovie tutorial, it was dead for the first few months and then like picked up after that. And now has 300 and something thousand views, but it didn't happen until month 4. And so, but if I was waiting around for 4 months, waiting for that video to blow up, not waiting to put out another one, then that's a whole other like fish to fry than it is to just be like, oh, that's weird. That video from 3 months ago is really doing really well. You know what I mean? Like you just have to keep moving on.
Yeah. You just have to move on. That's so true. So, I'm going to ask a couple more questions, then we can go into the Q&A part of the
Sure.
show. But
Okay.
there's something it was happening in the chat, so I was just
Oh,
fixing
what's
that.
going on in the chat?
There's some trolls or something I hear or something.
Uh-oh. Did they not like
So
me or did they not like you or did they not like the audience?
no, I think it's someone else's trolls that came into my stream and they weren't
Aw,
hurting, but they felt bad. I don't know. So they just kicked them out because they were mean to the other people. So they just
gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that happens. That happens.
Yeah, it does happen. And I will say like trolls are everywhere, man, because I will say that after that video with my dad, the amount of people that like said some horrendous things, like while anyone is in the process of like losing a family member, for them to like come out with the most stupid stuff you've ever heard in my entire life. And so I made a couple of reactionary videos to a few of them, just being people saying awful things. And then I had to move on past that because once it was like done and recorded and like I've said my piece, I'm not going to speak on this again. We're just going to move on. And it also took a different turn when I found out like my nieces are on TikTok, and I was like, oh, dang it now. Auntie Shelly has to be careful with what she says on TikTok. Oh no. So that was one of those where I think I had to like let it go.
Very, very funny. Okay, so Doc says he's going back to lunch.
Oh, okay.
Um, thank you, Doc. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Mod Squad.
Doc, I've never been to a social media marketing world. I've always heard, really good things, but I've never actually either been with a company that has gone or gone myself. So I don't have any current plans to go to social media marketing world. If you're going, I hope you have an awesome time. I know it's always a good time, but no,
Yeah,
I've never been. I've never been.
I have never been. I've been to VidCon and People Video. That was fun. It was really fun. So,
Yeah.
so that's nice. So if anyone else has any questions, great. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm gonna have one last question. What is your favorite piece of tech that you have used on shorts? Like
Um,
your favorite piece of tech.
Honestly, I just use my phone. I think people make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. I don't know if that's I use my phone and sometimes I use the little selfie tripod stick thing so that I can sit there. Like I really keep it simple a lot of the time. And even when we talk about like the Amazon videos that I'm really starting to get into now, I make them like intentionally amateurish and bad. So I think that people enjoy sometimes the real authentic type of experience of I'm a customer, I'm using this, or I'm reviewing, or I'm showing you this thing versus lights, transitions, and swipes and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't care about any of that. I just care about this product that I'm thinking about buying. So I would almost always say that we try and make everything too complicated, whether it's editing tricks or whatever else it is. I would just keep it simple. So I would just say my phone.
That is amazing. Now, I just really want to say thank you to coming on the show. There's no questions so far, so
I would say when it comes to vertical, a lot of people get really intimidated about how there are so many platforms, there are so many things, little nuances about each platform. I'd say keep it simple. Don't feel overwhelmed and don't feel like you have to distribute everything on the same day that it goes live on every single platform. So take your time. It's fine. It's all going to be there. I've been in some calls with YouTube and some creators where they're talking about, yeah, I release 5 shorts a day. I release 7 shorts a day. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, who has time for that? So I think everyone goes at their own pace, and that's totally fine. And I think the easier thing is to just get started, and then you can just worry about the rest of it later because you can always put up another video or you can always make another edit and put it back up again. But just start shooting some videos and put stuff up there and just stop worrying so much. I think the big thing is we worry so much about what people think about our content. And we need to be worried about what we think of our content. You know what I mean? But I also don't want to sit there and linger on any one piece of content for too long. It's just make it and then move on, make it and then make another one. Or if you want to, anything you want to learn is going to be figure outable or Googleable or YouTubeable. So if you want to learn how to do a cool transition, I bet someone has made a video on it. If you want to learn about how to do some specific, thing, someone has made a video on it. But just keep making videos because you have to get the practice and the muscle memory for it to get better.
That is amazing. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Let's play it out. Bye.